Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're navigating the corporate jungle, or honestly anyone who has a job, then this video is for you. Because let's be real, a bad boss isn't just annoying. They can be a legitimate threat to your mental health, your career, and even your overall well-being. Today we're exposing the 7 most toxic boss types that are wreaking havoc on workplaces everywhere. We're going to break down how to spot them, how they impact you, and most importantly, how to protect your sanity and your career. And stick around because the 4th type on our list, that's the most dangerous, and most people don't even realize it until it's too late. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one. Let's dive in. First up, we have the narcissistic boss. You know the type. They take credit for your brilliant ideas in meetings, dismiss your valid concerns with a wave of their hand, and make every single conversation, every single project, every single win somehow all about them. This constant invalidation, this never-ending need for external admiration, slowly but surely chips away at your self-worth and your confidence. You start second-guessing yourself, wondering if your ideas really weren't that good, or if your concerns are actually just silly. It's a subtle but insidious form of psychological warfare. So how do you handle them? Document everything in writing. I cannot stress this enough. Send follow-up emails after meetings summarizing decisions, explicitly stating your contributions. Create that paper trail. Psychology insight. Narcissists need constant validation to fuel their fragile egos. By meticulously documenting your contributions and not directly feeding their need for praise, you maintain your power and protect your mental space. You're not engaging in their game, you're playing your own. Next, we have the micromanaging boss. Oh, the dreaded micromanager. They question every decision you make, big or small. They demand constant updates, sometimes hourly updates on tasks that take days. They suffocate your creativity, making you feel like a robot simply executing their every whim. This creates chronic anxiety. You're constantly worried about making a mistake, constantly checking your inbox for their next just checking in email. It absolutely kills your motivation to excel, making you dread going to work. How do you handle this soul-crushing oversight? Proactively communicate. Set up regular check-ins before they ask. Provide detailed progress reports on your own schedule. Anticipate their need for information and beat them to the punch. Psychology insight. Micromanagers are often driven by deep-seated fear and insecurity. They're afraid of losing control, afraid of failure. By anticipating their needs and providing consistent, detailed information, you reduce their anxiety, earn their trust, and slowly, gently, pry their grip off your every move. Coming in at number 3 is the silent manipulator. These bosses are masters of psychological games. They use guilt trips, passive aggression, and emotional manipulation to control you. You leave conversations with them feeling utterly confused, riddled with guilt, and emotionally drained, but you can't quite put your finger on why. They might say things like, "I guess you're too busy for this," or use subtle put-downs disguised as jokes. It's a constant game of guessing what they really mean, which is exhausting. To handle them, you need to stay factual and unemotional. When they try to guilt trip you, stick to the facts of the situation. Avoid giving them the emotional reaction they crave. Document their behavior patterns, noting specific instances and exactly what was said or done. Psychology insight. Manipulators thrive on emotional reactions. They want to see you flustered, confused, or upset, because that's when they feel they have power. By staying calm, logical, and objective, you take away their most potent weapon and strip them of their ability to manipulate you. Alright, pay close attention, because we're about to talk about the 4th type, and this is the one I warned you about. This is the most dangerous toxic boss. This is the credit stealer. They are the quiet assassins of your career. They steal your brilliant ideas, present your hard work as their own in front of upper management, and leave you completely invisible to the people who matter most for your career progression. You bust your butt, you innovate, you deliver, and they swoop in, take all the glory, and get the promotions and recognition that you deserve. This doesn't just damage your ego, it actively destroys your career progression. leaving you feeling utterly used and betrayed. This deep resentment can, and often does, lead to professional burnout, depression, and a complete loss of faith in the system. How do you combat this incredibly damaging behavior? You need to create visibility for yourself. Find ways to present your work directly to senior management. Build relationships across different departments and teams. Offer to lead projects that give you direct exposure. Don't wait for your boss to give you the platform. Create your own. Psychology insight. Credit stealers are profoundly insecure about their own abilities. They often feel they can't achieve success on their own, so they parasite off others. By proactively showcasing your own talents and building your own reputation, you expose their incompetence and protect your career trajectory. This isn't about being petty, it's about protecting your professional future. Moving on to number 5, we have the bully boss. This type is far less subtle. They use intimidation, public humiliation, and outright verbal aggression to maintain control. Think shouting, sarcastic put-downs in front of colleagues, or explosive outbursts. This creates trauma-like symptoms. You walk on eggshells, constantly bracing for the next attack. It can manifest as chronic anxiety, insomnia, panic attacks, and a pervasive fear of coming into work. This isn't just unpleasant, it's a direct threat to your psychological safety. When dealing with a bully, your best defense is to document everything and seek support. Record incidents with dates, times, and exact quotes if possible. Report their behavior to HR, providing your detailed documentation. And crucially, build a strong support network of trusted colleagues who can corroborate your experiences and offer emotional solidarity. Psychology insight. Bullies target people they perceive as threats. Your competence, your intelligence, your potential. These things threaten their perceived authority. Remember that their behavior reflects their profound weakness and insecurity, not yours. You are not the problem. Their behavior is. Number 6, we have the indecisive boss. These are the leaders who change directions constantly. They can't make a firm decision to save their lives, leaving you and your team perpetually in limbo. Projects stall, priorities shift daily, and nothing ever feels truly complete. This creates immense frustration and leads to massive wasted effort. You spend weeks on a task only for it to be scrapped. It creates a debilitating sense of professional stagnation, making you feel like you're just treading water, going nowhere fast. How do you manage a perpetually wavering leader? Take initiative. Don't wait for them to decide. Present clear options to them with well-thought-out pros and cons for each. Gently but firmly, push for deadlines on decisions. Frame it as, to keep this project on track, we need a decision by date. Psychology insight. Indecisive leaders often fear making the wrong choice. They're paralyzed by the potential for failure. By providing structure, clear pathways, and reducing their perceived risk, you help them overcome their fear and make decisions more effectively, ultimately making them better leaders. And finally, at number 7, we have the passive-aggressive boss. These are the masters of the backhanded compliment, the subtle sarcasm, and the dreaded silent treatment. They'll say, "That was an interesting choice," or give you the cold shoulder for reasons you can only guess at. This creates massive confusion, makes you doubt yourself, and leads to profound emotional exhaustion. You're constantly trying to read between the lines, interpret their non-verbal cues, and figure out what you supposedly did wrong. It's an exhausting emotional roller coaster. To handle them, you need to address issues directly and calmly. When you sense passive-aggressive behavior, ask for specific feedback and clarification. For example, when you said interesting choice, could you clarify what you meant by that? Or, I've noticed a change in our communication. Is there something specific I can address? Psychology insight. Passive-aggressive people actively avoid direct conflict. They use indirect methods to express their displeasure because they're uncomfortable confronting issues head-on. By calmly forcing direct communication, you help them learn to express their concerns more healthily and effectively, even if they initially resist. Look, I know this has been a lot, and if you've recognized any of these types, you're not alone. The most important takeaway here is this: protecting your mental health isn't weakness, it's strength. You deserve to work in an environment that supports your growth, values your contributions, and prioritizes your well-being. These strategies aren't about changing your toxic boss. That's often impossible. They're about empowering you to maintain your sanity, protect your career, and navigate these difficult workplace relationships with greater resilience. If you've dealt with one of these boss types, or if you have a strategy that's worked for you, please share your story in the comments below. Your experience could be the exact lifeline someone else needs right now. Hit that like button. If you found this video helpful, give it a like to help others discover these insights. Share it with someone who could use a reminder about healthy relationships. And if you're passionate about self-empowerment and personal growth, subscribe for more content like this. Check out the video on screen now, or explore the channel for even more tips and guidance. Thank you for watching.